City Council meeting of July 8, 2025 is called to order at 6:02 PM. Mr. City Manager, any changes to the agenda?
No changes, Mayor.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Director Commissioner Lara.
Here.
Councilmember Director Commissioner Lutz.
Here.
Councilmember Director Commissioner Dr. Sanchez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chairman Vice President Camacho.
Here.
Mayor Chairman President Garcia.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Moving along, we have our invocation that will be led by Pastor Ignacio Chavez from Pico Rivera Bible Church, and it'll be followed by the flag salute by Abigail Quintanilla, an upcoming fourth grader at McGee Elementary. Pastor?
Thank you for the honor and the privilege. Just a couple quick words. Our church has been here since 1926, and I don't brag about the church, brag about the legacy of our community, that we've been able to hold it together and do well in our city. And a lot of it has to do with staff, city council, sheriff's department, fire department, and so we do live in a very blessed, perfect city? No, but a blessed one. Let's pray. Let's bow our heads. Father, we thank you, Father, for the opportunities to come and congregate to support and to let our voices be heard, Father, to those who have opportunity to make changes and corrections and improvements. Father, we just pray, Lord, for our city council, Lord, who are men and women who commit themselves to protecting our city. Father, for the sheriff's department, Father, who do a good job of supporting and encouraging and enforcing the laws of our land. Father, for the fire department who are there, Father, many times first responders who just face the worst of the worst, and yet, Father, they have been compassionate and loving. Father, we live in perilous times in many parts of the world and even in our own state. But Father, help us with wisdom, help us with compassion, help us with love, Father, to honor and to support one another and to be a blessing and to be a source of refreshment, Father, as we bring you and your word to the households of our community, Father, and that, Father, we would be sustained through this time. And, Father, whatever decisions that you have chosen for us to make, Father, may we make them with wisdom. Tonight's meetings for this young lady, Father, as she offers the Pledge of Allegiance, Father. Father, we know that we are one nation under God, and may we just honor that in our lives. Father, we thank you for your goodness. Thank you for this opportunity. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Flag salute by Abigail Quintanilla, please.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and members of our community. My name is Abigail Quintanilla, and I am going into fourth grade at McGee Academy of Arts and Science. It is my honor to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand up, face the flag, and place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Outstanding, Abigail. Abigail, can you please join us? If you want to come up here, Abigail, please. We want to provide this certificate of appreciation signed by all my colleagues here on the dais. We have a future leader in the house here. All right. Congratulations, Abigail. Outstanding. And if Abigail, if you could just hold up right here because we want to bring your family up. This is a former employee of Parks and Recreation, Veronica. If you want to come up here with the family, take a photo with your daughter, please. Veronica, good to see you again. We'll take one and then you can take one with the family.
Center yourself, or we'll pick what's, there we go. Perfect. One side, 1, 2, 3. One, two, three.
Okay, with the family? Just family.
Ready. 1, 2, 3. One.
Good job. Thank you. Good job. Good job. Good job. Stand back.
Good to see everybody. Thank you. Good to see you.
Okay, with us, we have commissioners in attendance. Eric Martinez from the Planning Commission and Maria Garcia from our Veterans Commission. Thank you both for your service and everything you do for the city of Pico Rivera. Also, I want to congratulate Joe Hernandez on his promotion as the captain of our sheriff station. Okay, moving along, we're going to begin with July is Parks and Recreation Month here in the city of Pico Rivera, and our Parks and Recreation programs are an essential component to providing physical activity, mental wellness, and in my opinion, we have some of the best parks and some of the most dedicated and hardworking staff. And when you look at our programs throughout the city, we're second to none. So we want to acknowledge our Parks and Recreation Department for the Parks Month. We have a proclamation, and if we can just have them come up and say congratulations and thank you for your hard work and your service. I know this is a team effort, the long hours, the events, the activities that go on, the evenings, where you can put together something and have it broken down by midnight, and then nobody will know anything ever happened. So we can just have Parks and Rec. James, Ricardo?
Gabe, Jonathan,
Ricardo, how are you doing, sir?
Hi, thank you.
Hi. Ponce, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Eddie.
Thank you for it.
And as the staff make their way this way, you know, you see all the events and activities that come out throughout the city. These are the staff that spearhead a lot of it, but there's many worker bees that are not with us this evening. And we want to acknowledge them and all their hard work and their teamwork. And it's just a small token of our appreciation here on the city council.
It's heavy on this side.
What about you? Oh, that's nice.
No, I didn't mean, I'm sorry.
It's the way you say it.
Unbalanced.
I'm glad you didn't say this side.
He went like. Sorry. Yes.
That's right, Robert.
Right, up.
Jonathan.
Okay,
Somebody can take it for us.
They could
No, somebody can take it for us.
okay.
Just don't be crooked.
So, you wanna jump on that side? Gabe?
Hey, where's Gabe?
Gabe. Too. No hiding.
Gabe.
Get in.
Gabe makes
No,
life
well,
better.
they called you out. No, wait. All right. All right.
1, 2, 3. I'm gonna take a couple.
All right, ready? 1, 2, look at the camera on the tripod. 1, 2, 3. All right. Let's try one more. One more for good measure. 1, 2, 3. All right. And then one with just Parks and Rec?
Yes.
Sure, buddy.
I didn't mean it like that. Oh, God. I'm never going to hear the end of it. I stay out of trouble. I'm never going to hear the end of it. Oh. All right.
Thing one, thing two. It's heavy now on this side. Oh, sorry.
1, 2, 3.
All right.
Thank
Look at
you.
the camera. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Before everybody goes. Where are you running to? That's what they do. They run. I just wanted to thank you. I feel very blessed to be part of this team. I don't feel like I get credit for leading the team, but I'm part of the team and they're part of me, and they're the best team a gal could ask for. They're a 7-day operation from every morning till dusk and closing the restrooms at night. Anytime you get a call, they answer, they respond. But the most important thing that they do is they make memories for kids. I think one of the best things about Pico Rivera is it's generational. And you can go to the supermarket and you coach somebody, and then their grandkids are in the program too. Look at Pico Boys, look at Pony Baseball, look at AYSO. You'll see some people who are going to be recognized tonight for some honors. And it's just a beautiful place, Pico Rivera is. And I think it's because Parks and Rec is such a great department, and parks do make life better. So thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you, Juan. Thank you so much for dropping off. Oh, yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Can I say something to John?
Thank you.
I wanted to add to that as well. Can you hear me? Is this on?
Thanks
Yes.
for being here.
As our Parks Director Pam mentioned, Robert, who's our photographer now, was my oldest son. He's 27 now. Swim instructor. He taught him how to swim at Smith Park when it was open, and now he's here, and it's come full circle. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Not only is our Parks and Rec department very close to our families, they know our children from birth all the way through to when they're having their own children. So I want to say thank you to our Parks and Rec department. So even if you don't know the difference that you make sometimes, I just want to say that you are important. Just your smile at the park, helping someone out, helping a kid or a parent sign up for a class. I feel like the parks are our heart of the city, and I want to thank our director, our wonderful leader here, Pam. Just today, I had a crazy day, running late, and I said, I'm meeting with 35 girls to speak to them from their Think Together program, and I promised them a little goodie bag. They didn't know about it, but she rushed them over and drove them over for me at lunchtime. So just those little things, I want to say thank you. It's not required as part of their job, but we often call on you at lunchtime, midnight, holiday, weekends, evenings, and you always come through, and I want to say thank you very much. And talk to the city manager about the raise. I'm just kidding. but I know he's looking down. But I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I think our council feels the same way.
Okay. Okay, moving along on the agenda, we have, early this year, the City Council, we passed a volunteer recognition program. And we want to honor those who've been volunteering throughout the city of Pico Rivera for years. And we're making a difference in the lives of a particular sport and individual at many of our parks. And our first recipient that we have as a community champion in community sports, this is a 5-year president of an AYSO Region 603 over at Smith Park. Ruben volunteers himself and coaches these kids. And Ruben's a type of individual, if a coach does not show up in a particular team, he will step in to make sure that no child is turned away. They have a programming level of 800 youth and 240 volunteers. So Ruben, we want to thank you for your tireless efforts, for your dedication in the league, and your commitment to making a difference here in the city of Pico Rivera. So if you can please step forward, we have something that we want to give you. Ruben, this is on behalf of the city council. We thank you for everything you do here in our city. Thank you, Ruben.
Eric, thank you.
Ruben, you want to come on this side?
I sure do. By the tall guy, huh?
This is yours right there.
Sorry, guys, I get a little bit emotional.
One, two, three. Well deserved.
Oh, can I get one with my wife and my?
Yes, absolutely. And
So,
then, and if you want,
to say so too.
yes,
We
and
get
then
a
we'll
buy
give
one,
you.
get one free deal, by the way.
Yes, no, please.
So to run a really big program, is it on? Is it? Sorry, I'm a soccer coach. Huh? So to run a program this large takes a lot of help. We have my wife, my son, actually my 3 boys. We started here when my son was 4. Now he's 21, and he did the whole program. Now we have a 4-year-old starting from scratch. COVID, remember? I'm 54 with the 4-year-old. That's how that goes. But it's a great family fun environment. We get hundreds and hundreds of kids every year. We have a lot of kids that return. They want to go out there. They want to be with their friends, their family. It's a really great environment. That's why we're out there all the time. And I want to, I get embarrassed with like recognitions because I'm there for the kids. Not for anything else, but to see like these little guys grow up and just make lasting memories in the city of Pico Rivera. So I want to thank all these council members, the Parks and Rec staff. It's a big team effort. I want to thank everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you, all of us? Okay.
Everybody. All right. Ready, guys? Look over here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now one, just you guys.
Thank you, Robert.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Of course. Thank you. One more for the Instagram.
For the gram.
For the
All
ground.
right. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Got it? Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Oh, no.
Mr. Gonzalez, I just want to say a few words on from what I've seen, your leadership. You know, that AYSO, how many kids? Is it 600, 800 kids?
Last year we had,
942.
at the end, we left it open, so we had a big, long waiting list, and we let kids register, so.
Well, thank you. You know, that proves the point that kids and parents will go wherever there's leadership. And thank you very much for leading AYSO. I've seen firsthand your generosity, your leadership. And so thank you once again. This is a honor that's well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay, this next individual, we have one more presentation right here. And this individual's community champion and serving seniors. You go to the Shade, he's a part of the Shade Lane Seniors as a parliamentarian, but he's been the president for the last 10 years with the Friendly Seniors Club over at Smith Park. He's very friendly. The whole senior club is very friendly. But this individual, along with his wife, Alvia, they support our veterans. They support our fundraisers on Sundays where they're constantly giving up their own time. So Ernie Vega, we want to thank you for your leadership and everything you do for our seniors, not just at the senior center, but throughout the city and making sure seniors have a voice and a place to enjoy. So thank you. If you could please step forward. On behalf of everyone here on the city council, Ernie, we want to thank you for everything you do. Thank you. And it should be noted that Ernie is a karaoke singer too. No, I'm just kidding.
Song.
And Alvia, if you want to come up and take, Alvia's always with Ernie, and they're very active. If you're out at 4 or 5 in the morning, you may see them doing a walk around our community. These two are very active in the city.
I don't even do karaoke if you back me up.
Alvia, good to see you.
May we get one with the senior center staff and you too?
Yes.
Please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lizette and your team, would you mind? Thank you.
Can we get my son and my granddaughter?
Yes, yeah, bring them up.
Isaac,
Yes, the
Miranda.
family.
Congratulations.
So you guys help me do this.
Oh, right, we got two. Thank you.
Do you want us to take a picture with your phones? I'm sorry? Do you want us to take a picture with your phone?
Thank you.
You want to share anything? Want to share anything?
Yeah, I want to say something. I want to say this.
Bring my ankle.
Oh, Alvia.
Yeah, I would like to say thank you, Mr. Mayor, city council members, I'm honored to receive this award for the city that I live in Pico Rivera. And I also want to thank the staff of the senior center, because without them, the club would not be what they are. So I want to thank the staff. They're always there to help us. It doesn't matter what we ask them for, they don't say no. So they're always there for us, and I appreciate that very much. And that's why the club gets the way it gets good, because of them, they're helping us. I want to thank you again for the award. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you.
All right, Jack. Thank you very much.
Ernie is so correct. Where's Parks and Rec? If we could just take one more curtain call because without your support and what you do for our seniors, the way you do the special events, from the decor, you name it. So thank you. Let's put our hands together for our senior center staff. Lizette, you and the entire team, we appreciate everything you do. Okay, moving along, we're going to go into public comments, and then I have a couple of written comments. The first comment we have is Richard Burns.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Vice Mayor, Council. I'd like to say very proud of you. I spent a little more than I should have on Facebook this weekend, and you guys are holding the ground for your city. Appreciate that so much. Might move to Pico so I can vote for you. My name is Richard Burns. I'm a representative with the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters. I'm here to speak on the Whittier Dam project and item 3, 95-unit townhome project at 6540 Rosemead Boulevard this evening. Both projects should have strong labor standards for the skilled and trained workforce that will create to build them, with a state-certified apprenticeship program with medical benefits and the opportunity to retire with a pension with dignity and pride. The project should also create the opportunity for local hire, with the opportunity for apprentices of all trades to start a career of choice, without the challenges of long commutes and the burden of a large gas bill each month, and have the option of using public transportation to get to the projects and would be able to live and spend in the city of their choice. This is important for us and for the city. If you have somebody who starts their career 18 years old at, right now, $22 an hour, they journey out at, say, $50 an hour with medical benefits, they have the opportunity to buy a house here. Every day they're going to spend here. If they move out, trust me, they're going to have family here, they're going to come back. So to have local hire on these projects with labor standards, it's a win-win for everybody. Thank you very much. Appreciate all you do.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Lauren Talbot.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Lauren Talbot, and I'm the Community Library Manager at the Pico Rivera Library and the Rivera Library. Here are our updates for July. The Red Cross is holding a blood drive at the Pico Rivera Library tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. Please drop by to donate. The Roundhouse Aquarium is hosting a marine mammal discovery program at the Rivera Library on Thursday, July 10th at 2 p.m. for kids ages 5 to 12. They will talk about local marine wildlife and bring tide pool animals to touch. Adults are invited to our paint night at the Rivera Library on Wednesday, July 23rd at 6 p.m. We will be painting landscapes with acrylics. And free diapers, sizes 1 through 6, are back in stock at the Pico Rivera Library. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, we have Fernando Islas.
Good evening, Pico Rivera. For the record, I don't stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance because of what they're doing to the Palestinians out in Gaza. This country is rampantly terrorizing our community, and you still want to be like, I pledge allegiance to the flag. I tried giving this comment last week, but because I walked in a couple minutes past 6, the lady who hands out the public comment cards didn't want to give me one. And you guys were in closed session while the El Rancho board meeting had already began, so I didn't want to take my chances in asking you guys to let me give public comment, so I went to give one there since they allow you to submit a public comment card online prior to getting to the meeting. So I don't have to get out of work and rush over here, putting my life at risk, so you guys can hear what I have to say. Therefore, I'm going to start there by suggesting that aside from offering tangible comment cards to be submitted before 6 p.m. or you don't get to talk, offer them online. You can get with Dr. Villegas and the rest of the El Rancho board. They can show you how it's done. What I wanted to come in here today and say, well, I actually wanted to say last week, is that I condemn the terrorizing of our city by ICE. They are running around Los Angeles, to include Pico Rivera, profiling people of color and snatching them up without any due process, all while concealing their identities by masking their faces and covering their badge numbers. I have PTSD from watching all these videos of how they've apprehended people. I saw someone get ran over by an ICE agent today in San Francisco. It's the Wild West out there right now. But I can't say I didn't tell you so, Pico. This is another point I wanted to make last week. I can't help but to point out the intersectionality between what is happening to our Palestinian siblings in Palestine and us here in the States. The same ethnic cleansing that has been going on to the Palestinians during this genocide is now happening to us here by the same culprit, the United States of America. I tried to warn you guys. I said, help me stop the terrorizing of other brown people, because I knew it was only a matter of time before they came after us. I told this council, help me stop the ongoing mass slaughter of those little brown children, and instead, they gave us a Leaders of the Pledge program. They say you manufacture consent for one, you manufacture consent for all, meaning when you condone the terrorizing of other brown people, you are condoning your own demise, Pico. Lastly, to immigration, I have this message: patria o muerte. Since I have some time, I want to wrap up by congratulating Captain Hernandez on his promotion. I'm gonna keep it G Hernandez, and all I'm gonna say is that I would hope that you make sure you are upholding the people's rights and not trying to do the exact opposite. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir. Oh, okay.
Here we go.
At this time, I have two written comments, and I also want to acknowledge Raymond Rodriguez, President of Pico Water District, who's in the audience. Thank you. My written comment is from Beatrice Serafin regarding Christmas lights. Mr. Carmona, can you please look into that one? And the second written comment is from Ian Jameson regarding a nonprofit Shower of Hope. If we can look into that one as well, please. Thank you. Okay, that's it with our public and written comments. Agencies on tonight's agenda: we have our City Council, Successor Agency, Housing Assistance, and Water Authority. We have items 1 through 16. Do we have a motion? So moved. Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Camacho. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Monica Sanchez. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Director Commissioner Lara?
Yes.
Councilmember Commissioner Director Lutz?
Yes.
Councilmember Director Commissioner Dr. Sanchez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chairman Vice President Camacho? Mayor Chairman President Garcia?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, before we go into City Manager's report, Councilmember Lara?
I just want to give a special recognition for item 16, and this involves the separation of our water system in regards to our pressurization. I want to thank Public Works for seeing this project through. If I'm not mistaken, we had set aside $600,000 for this project. It came in at about 3 something, and I think we're putting $239,000 back into the enterprise fund. So it came in under what we had initially allotted for, but this project is significant because instead of running on one pressurized system, we run on 2. And because we run on 2 now, the north end has better water pressure. And so I just wanted to point that out, that this is the first time that the city has been able to do that with our water system. So good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. City Manager, report.
Yes, Mayor, City Council. Tonight, as promised, we'll continue to give legislative updates. At this time, I'll bring up Jesse Garcia to just give you a quick overview. As you're well aware, the current legislative, California State Legislative year 2025, about 2,300 bills were introduced. It's extremely critical that we keep a close eye because they definitely have impacts on not only the state, the region, but our city. And in addition to that, Jesse is also very helpful with Mayor Pro Tem's leadership on the contract cities, and I believe he can mention a couple things of how helpful tracking some of these bills have been to support contract cities' efforts and initiatives. Jesse?
Thank you very much, Mr. City Manager. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay, there's a little bit of feedback there. And fellow staff, my name is Jesse Garcia, Senior Analyst, and I wanted to provide you all with a brief but informative legislative update with the legislative session, which I'm entering at the state level what I consider halftime, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So on the state front, which has hit news all around, and I think it's more of the main topic of conversation, the state budget was finally agreed upon between the legislature and the governor. Of pretty unprecedented times, included in just the budget package was also policy. And normally this goes through the legislative process. As you all know, bills have to be discussed through both chambers and committees. But something interesting happened this time around where, through the governor's directive, bills specifically related to CEQA reform were pushed through the budget process. And with the budget deadline being July 1st, these bills were reintroduced as budget trailer bills close to like June 30th, near the end of the deadline, to just stave off discussion. And they were packaged as part of the budget agreement. And that why I bring this to this council and why that's significant is this is essentially gutting CEQA as we know it. It is going to streamline a lot more of the what we call infill projects or development projects through a ministerial process. In other words, granting approval of housing and development and other forms of construction and building without the local approval, review, and environmental concern. This is something that local governments, as well as a lot of advocacy and environmental agencies, have always tried to negotiate with the legislature, but ultimately ends up in a point where they'll push down mandates little by little. This time around, they took a huge sweeping axe at CEQA, and I'll go over some of those main provisions. But before that, just really quickly, the budget itself is roughly $228 billion in spending, with $48 billion of that coming from bond accounts. There's been a lot of shuffling of money to try to make up for the budget deficit. The governor's original proposal introduced a lot of delays and cuts to safety net programs, such as Medicaid, as particularly for undocumented individuals. The legislature pushed back, and in the final agreed upon formula, they just agreed to freeze enrollment for Medicaid for folks 19 years or older. But if you're already in Medicaid, you were not going to be considered aged out. So for those folks already enrolled, you're still considered grandfathered in. Anyone new will face difficulties starting January 2026. Also, there was a lot of proposed cuts to public schools and higher education in the state. The legislature and the governor agreed to reject those cuts and push those through different, essentially color of money. They're moving different accounts to make up for that loss. And of interest to local governments is a new round of homelessness housing and assistance prevention program funding of $500 million. That was the final agreed upon amount, which will eventually trickle down to local communities to help with temporary housing as well as ongoing housing efforts. And additionally, this city, as well as contract cities and a lot of our advocacy groups, advocated for the $100 million that was agreed upon for Prop 36 implementation. That was voted on and approved by the voters in the last ballot. Essentially, crime reform as well, and fentanyl and drug prevention programming. $100 million of one-time funding, though we did advocate for consistent funding, so we'll come back to the table with that. Additionally, we have some more transportation and infrastructure funding, which we're looking to identify what those eligibility criteria is going to be. but we also wanted to highlight that cap and trade and Prop 4, which were originally a lot of these sustainability and climate resiliency funding sources, were targeted for a lot of the backfill of general fund obligations. So why I bring Prop 4, as you know, we were successful in introducing language for eligibility for the city. So with the intent of that going towards new parks, new funding, very specific criteria laid out in the prop measure itself, we found it slightly problematic that the governor used that to backfill obligations for the general fund. So we're going to monitor that closely just to make sure that what we advocated for continues to be a priority for the administration. On the CEQA side, so this was two bills that were introduced originally through the legislature by Assemblymember Wicks and Senator Wiener. At the last minute, they were halted and then turned into trailer bills that went into the budget. To summarize, we're going to have exemptions for advanced manufacturing, which some local governments have concerns with, because what does that mean, right? Is that chips? What are those chemicals or what materials are going into that? As well as high-speed rail, a lot of different infrastructure projects, and things like daycare centers, health clinics, mainly food banks in like rural communities, trying to speed those projects. Why this was problematic was it bypassed the entire legislative process. As I said earlier, there was no discussion, no comment. It was just folded into the budget bill, and essentially, if this bill does not pass, the budget does not pass, and if the budget does not pass, government halts. So that was the big controversy behind that. We can provide more details specifically of what that means for local governments or this city in particular and what to expect at a future presentation. I won't go over every single bill individually we listed here, but we do like to demonstrate to the council just how active we are in the legislative process in terms of opposing, supporting, or even providing amendments to bills as they are actively moving through the legislative process. Things ranging again from CEQA, local control, public safety. We also wanted to bring to attention, for example, SB 635, bill by Durazo, which essentially, as on its premise, the city would support. It would essentially prohibit local governments from needing to provide sensitive information, such as immigration status, to enforcement, to federal immigration enforcement. On the surface, that sounds great, but if you look through the bill and you read it in particular, they were trying to introduce a specific sentence that would prohibit local governments from contracting with third parties for enforcement of such food vendor ordinances, right? We do have Southwest Patrol. We do use third-party security for other reasons. That one line would essentially make that a much more complicated process. So things like that, as the city manager alluded to earlier, doing a thorough review of these bills allows us to find provisions that might appear challenging to us and come to the table with, hey, this may not work for our community. How can we come to a better solution? And issues like that are ongoing. So just a screenshot of, and all of these bills were actually formally responded to by the city with a letter of opposition support, just a screen grab there. On the federal side, so a lot happening by the minute over here. Something to update the council, we did successfully submit $1.25 million in a request through Congresswoman Linda Sanchez and community project funding, and that was selected to continue on to the next process, and that is for the Durfee Avenue Community Center. Obviously tentative what the appropriations committee comes down to, but just being selected enough as to one of the projects of her many cities is a feat to celebrate in its own. Also, the Army Corps awarded the contractor Barnard Construction Company for the pre-construction services to define the scope of the larger Whittier Narrows Dam project. We did have a meeting with the Army Corps, Barnard, and relevant staff to kind of just open lines of communication and ensure that there's a lot of that open feedback and things move smoothly. As we've discussed and this council has acted on, which again, personally commend you all. Thank you very much for your actions on this. There was a lot of ICE activity confirmed in the city. We're monitoring the ever-changing guidelines and federal directives. One day they're saying certain industries are allowed to be enforced. Another day they say they're not. So we're also actively identifying community resources and actively working with our legislators. For example, if there are individual instances where a member of our community has been detained or has been, detained or arrested by ICE, we try to do as much as we can to connect them with our Congresswoman's office, who will then provide us with recommendations as to how can we properly inform this individual's family or relatives or whoever may have interest in locating this individual, as well as providing them with the adequate legal and financial resources. So we have taken an active role in that. And thank you to the leadership of this council, as well as our city manager, for making us essentially an on-call response whenever instances like this happen. You all might have heard over the July 4th weekend, the revenue and tax bill, otherwise known as the Big Beautiful Bill, was signed into law. A lot of provisions in that. Of note, we're looking at a state and local tax deduction threshold increase from previously $10,000 per filer up to $40,000 per filer. What that means is you get to write off $40K in state and local taxes before your federal tax burden is applied to you. What that means in layman's terms is we may see here as on the local level impacts to revenues and services, since that means that's less money going to the federal government to fund the very local services that depend on that. In that bill, we did see a historic $75 billion for ICE alone, a total of $175 billion for DHS immigration enforcement. A little factoid that makes it the 8th largest force in the world and by expenditure alone. So again, why I bring that to this group is that what probably is going to have impacts on communities as well as our response. There was a significant rollback of clean energy tax credits relevant to us, given that we do have a municipal energy, we are, municipal energy aggregate, choice aggregate, and that will impact at some point. Again, tentative to see how ratepayers, there was a lot of clean energy tax credits that we do pass to residents and ratepayers. We have to yet to determine how that might impact the bottom line, as well as a significant rollback of Medicaid and SNAP, which is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. A lot of folks don't realize, but sometimes, the federal government's share of Medicaid is actually like upwards of 55 to 75% of what goes to states. And that's not just a direct check from the federal government to a recipient. That funds actual clinics, services, convalescent homes, retirement homes, dialysis. It just goes on, right? And it's a waterfall effect. If the state is starting to do cuts to their Medicaid services and the federal government does cuts to their Medicaid services, there's going to be a lot of sudden gaps that are going to become exposed. And that may also trickle down to the local level. So as staff, we're going to actively monitor that situation. As we've all heard, not a surprise, the administration and Secretary Duffy are moving to actively withhold approximately $4 billion in direct allocation to the high-speed rail project. Now there's to be determined what that means. Does that just mean the money gets taken back? Does it get redistributed? We're working with staff to make sure we're eagerly advocating for our projects that follow along the high-speed rail line and can serve to maybe an opportunity to fund projects for us moving forward. On that note, we're also entering a surface transportation reauthorization negotiation year that essentially funds all roads, bridges, transit for the next 4 years. Given the government's, the administration's priorities, that might shift who is eligible for what. They may shift away from transit and more towards roadways and bridges, to be determined, but we will definitely provide this council with updates once that's known. And to finalize here, we are establishing contact with the office of Senator Adam Schiff, just so that we can also provide them with briefings on what we're doing here as a city, our needs and our priorities, just so we can have a clear line of communication with all of our federal representatives. That concludes my update, and I'm here to happy to answer any questions.
Jesse, thank you for that legislative update. I'll turn it over to my colleagues. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, if I take the opportunity to add some content in there and thank Jesse Garcia for his work. As you can see, there's a lot of activity in the federal and state legislative process. He's described quite a few things of what we're doing on the federal level, but even bringing it back to the state of California, and as you mentioned, the budget / trailer bill / CEQA, and one of those things is that, we've always been advocating for CEQA reform because it has impeded in development within the housing, as an example. However, just the way we felt they went about in doing this was, it went beyond what we are requiring. Everything we look at is local government, local control. We meet twice a month with about 20 cities that jump on the call. But as it relates to that particular item, and it went to the trailer bill, it was because of Jesse monitoring the activities that were going on. This happens in real time, and it happened so quick that we were able to mobilize and let other cities know about this, and a lot began the messaging, text messaging, calling the members, letting them know how, again, we support CEQA reform, not in this manner, and by circumventing the entire process of transparency and allowing the people to, advocate and or opine as to the pros and cons of a particular law that's going to be in place. It's unfortunate. We had to express, I know I expressed my discontent to our members, but really the governor himself is the one that did this and push it in that arena, and it's unfortunate. That's not what we advocate for. We're told we follow their laws that they impose on us. We follow what we do what we can to be as transparent as we can. In this particular case, they circumvented that. But again, short of that, it's the new law. But Jesse, just want to thank you because of your work. And as we meet and discuss, and we have several bills that we oppose and support and letters, Jesse has been very instrumental in being part of that. So we didn't have this before, and as you can see, over the years, we've had this legislative approach now, thanks to the city manager, brought on Jesse on board. But I just want to, again, a lot of activity happening, state, federal, the team, the effort. Not only would we put language in Prop 4 that is going to potentially have additional revenue for us, but we've been able to also partake in a lot of other legislation that we oppose the state legislator for making it difficult for us to provide services, but we support efforts that allow us to provide better service to our community. And it's a give and take, but a lot going on right now. So thank you, Jesse.
Mayor Pro Tem, I want to thank you for your leadership and your involvement with contract cities and making sure that the voice is being heard. So we appreciate your leadership there. Councilmember Lauro?
Just a specific question about the CEQA reform.
Absolutely.
It's my understanding that they did away with prevailing wage.
So, yes and no. So there was, like I had mentioned earlier, there was two bills that were introduced. The first one that was originally the Wicks bill, which had to do with the infill development, the 20 acres. It's my understanding that anything 85 feet in height or below is essentially exempt from any labor or wage requirements. That was an actual point that was negotiated by labor at the state with the legislature before it proceeded. Now, above that, prevailing wage requirements, it was kept in the bill, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all your work.
No, absolutely, thank you.
Dr. Sanchez?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jesse, as well, for all of your work and our staff. My question is, you mentioned the rolling back of some of the environmental-related grants and things. However, we have not received any official cancellation or reduction from our currently awarded grants.
City manager, if you'd like to.
No, we haven't.
Okay.
At this time.
And were some grants that we were looking at just not opened after all?
On the federal side, there's definitely some grants that their funding is not there anymore, especially on the environmental side.
Thank you. My second question is, maybe this is for our city manager as well. In the case for the Barnard contract with the Army Corps of Engineers, do we have, I know that with the city construction related, we have PLAs and types of agreements. Do we have any control in their contract with Barnard?
No, we do not. Federal government has Davis-Bacon, but there's no prevailing wage requirement on federal projects.
Is there any way we could advocate for a local hire, or I mean they have the contract, but is there some way we can send a letter or advocate for that?
Yeah, we definitely could advocate to implement those policies.
Thank you. And I think in the past we have had a trip, advocacy trip, federal those of us that go to contract cities at the state level and even local, it's more important if not more than ever, for us to continue to reach out to our networks and continue to advocate for us. And I'm not ready to just throw up our arms and say, we're not going to get money, or, they're not going to do what we say. But I believe in the power of our voice and advocacy, and we should continue to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Councilmember Lutz.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you for all your hard work and strategy. When we go out to Sacramento to advocate for our city individually, I think that speaks volumes. Not many cities take the entire city council, as well as yourself and Steve Carmona and the rest, Javier Hernandez and our assistant city manager, Angelina. I thank you, more importantly, for those packets that you provide for us. They're so thorough and concise. So again, appreciate. We're looking forward. We're going to D.C. to advocate on behalf of our city with the new administration. Is that correct?
Yes, we're lining that up.
So thanks again. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, Councilmember.
Thank you, Jesse, for all your hard work. We
Thank you
appreciate
all.
the update.
One quick thing that I forgot to note, just to end it on, good news, is at the state level, just in this last quarter alone, we have received successfully over $2 million in new grant awards, and that's just to start the implementation of a lot of these programs within the historic Whittier Boulevard program, such as the general plan update, Native History Park, which will be off of the Whittier Boulevard intersections, and the Pico Bikeway. So there's a lot of positivity in that as well.
Thank you. City Manager, any other reports or updates?
Yes, Mayor, I have a couple more. Stole a little bit of Javier's thunder, but that's okay. I'd like to hand it off to Javier to talk a little bit about the grant that we just rewarded. It was through his hard efforts that we have got this grant to update our general plan. It costs in excess of $1 million. It's an initiative CED will undertake. So any additional dollars to help offset our general fund would be very much appreciated. So, Javier.
Yep.
Mr. Hernandez.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, there's certainly no question that there's a lot of uncertainty at the federal level with respect to what might or might not come with respect to grants and what we may or may not be eligible for. And a couple of years ago, we had a very similar conversation about what may come or may not come. And a couple of years ago, we did make a concerted effort to position the city at the state level to be eligible, and not just eligible, but extremely competitive for state grants. And as the Mayor Pro Tem duly noted, we also positioned ourselves well with prioritization language in Proposition 4. We'll start to see proceeds of that proposition come through later this month, all the way through October. And we're well positioned to start securing monies in partnership with the Rivers and Mountains Conservancy. But today I do want to highlight one particular grant program that is a competitive grant program with Caltrans. It's the Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant Program. This is an annual program statewide. This past cycle, there was 140 applications submitted for a total value of $58.3 million. Of those 140, only 65 were awarded, valued at $26.5 million. The average grant amount was about $407,000. The majority of the awardees were large regional agencies, counties, transportation authorities, councils of governments like Sacramento Area COG, Contra Costa Transit Authority, and others. There were some small handful of cities that also received some grants, some notable local cities like Pasadena, Montebello, Culver City, Bell Gardens, Irvine, and a couple of others. But out of the 65 applications that were awarded, only 5 received the maximum funding amount of $700,000. And again, it was largely reserved for those large agencies. One of those 5, it was the San Francisco Bay Area Rapid Transit, BART, the Fresno COG, the San Bernardino Transportation Authority, the City of San Diego, and then the small city of Pico Rivera. So we're in a small list of big agencies and counties and authorities that are receiving the maximum funding amounts for these grant awards. It's very exciting. that we're competitive on that level. It really speaks to the leadership and the vision of our council, of course, the hard work of our staff, and the vision that this city has put forward. This grant will fund the mobility, circulation, land use, and the environmental justice elements of the city plan's comprehensive general plan update. There'll be more to come on that front, but we hope to bring forward a resolution to accept this grant in the very near future. So more to come on that front. I do also want to, if I may, City Manager, just also provide a quick update. Many of you know that we've been also positioning ourselves at the state level to secure a regional rail station in the city of Pico Rivera that would be serviced by Metrolink, Amtrak, and maybe we'll see someday in the future, California High-Speed Rail. I'm happy to report that we now have every single vested stakeholder in the Lausanne corridor in consensus for the preferred alternative in the city of Pico Rivera. So all three cities, the City of Commerce, the City of Montebello, the City of Pico Rivera, as well as all the railroad agencies, BNSF, Metrolink, the Lausanne agency, otherwise known as Amtrak, Metrolink, and of course our county transportation authority, Metro, are all in agreement that the station should be here in the city of Pico Rivera. So Metro is now taking the next big step to complete preliminary engineering designs and preparing themselves to undertake the environmental for that project. So more to come on that front in the very near future as well. And also, as Jesse mentioned, but just to provide a little bit more context, again, touching on the positioning here at the state level, we were awarded a couple weeks back a grant with the Rivers and Mountains Conservancy to purchase the property on the northeast corner of Whittier Boulevard and Paramount Boulevard. It's a small, kind of isolated piece of land right next to that recently renovated apartment complex. The eye, of course, is to renovate that property, add some landscaping, some beautification, maybe some artwork, some natural native landscaping, etc. But we're happy to report that we've received the grant of $450,000 to acquire and purchase that property. So that process is now underway. And then also, as Jesse noted, we have been selected for a $1.25 million grant with Congressional Representative Linda Sanchez, and that would be for the Durfee Avenue Community Center, formerly the VFW, on Durfee Avenue. So we look forward to continuing to advocate for ensuring that selection remains in the appropriations bill and eventually gets signed into the national budget with our president. Anyway, whole lot of good news. All to say is that we, are uncertain of what may come with these grants in the future, so we're trying to position ourselves as best we can to secure as much as we can, recognizing how competitive the landscape is. With that, I'll take any questions. Thank you.
I just want to say, wow, you continue to raise the bar and bring in the revenue, the resource, and the support. Another amazing job with the grant funding. Well done. Colleagues, any questions, comments? Councilmember Laurel?
No, this has been years in the making, and it's great to see it clicking together, all the pieces falling in place. There's still, it's still the obstacles before us on some of these bigger projects, but it's nothing that is insurmountable, right? So now I'm very, very cautiously optimistic. Before it was like, yeah, yeah, Javier, I'm not sure about that. But as the years have progressed and as we've seen your work, it's like, oh, wow, this thing's going to happen. Yeah. It's like this thing should happen. So thank you for everything you've done. Thank you, City Manager, for also leading everyone, Parks and Recs, everyone. It's just great. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to, again, add the kudos as well. Javier, thank you. I mean, it's just a continuation of what we've been doing as a city to get grant after grant after grant, and whether it be sustainability, whether it be property acquisition, there's a lot going on with the projects. But, I mean, just to highlight the fact that the uncertainty, the uncertainty that the last few weeks have brought us here in our community, uncertainty about the federal funding that is available and not. But I think we're doing what we can to position ourselves to continue providing the services that the community deserves and expects, but also funding the projects and programs that through these grants, through other means. And the work, again, from the city manager, the entire team, we continue to put ourselves out there, and uncertainty is no doubt a reality nowadays, but we're going to persevere. Thank you.
Dr. Sanchez?
Yes, thank you. I would just like to say thank you to our director. And the other day I was having a conversation about our projects, and I said, contact our director of innovation and communications. I said, you have a director of innovation? Yes, and we have a director of sustainability. We have our Parks and Rec director. And so, I feel that just seeing the grants and these ideas come to fruition, and sometimes it might be just a brainchild of one of us. It might come from the staff. It might come from the parks. It might come from anyone. And just seeing that coming to fruition as you secure funding for it is what makes me really excited about being here. And as we know, times are tough, and we don't know, things are getting tougher, but as we know, things are going to change, and we're not just throwing up our hands in despair, but finding ways to innovate and create. And sometimes I think one of the benefits of the pandemic was our use of technology and Zoom, and how we've been able to use more technology to help and support our city. So I like to call them growing pains and change. And I want to say thank you to all of our staff that have been embracing those and not throwing up your hands and running in despair, but coming with us to new ideas, to make new ideas, find new money, and new ways to make our city better. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lutz.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Well, I remember when we were dealt the blow when the Army Corps of Engineers told us that, their land, they'd have to utilize it to revamp the Whittier Narrows dam. And now, we're at the position where we have to be creative. And I think to myself, if the City of Pico Rivera staff can dream it, the City of Pico Rivera can make it happen. And that's what the City of Pico Rivera is doing, making it happen, with the implementation of a new real estate coming on board under our portfolio, turning that into like a cultural center on Durfee, and the property that just is going to be coming on the books, which is on Whittier on Paramount. That's going to be also a little recreation activity area. I'm really, really excited that although we're losing park space, we're gaining slowly but surely little spots for our community to gather for free and enjoy the hot summer nights. And of course, when it comes to the rest of the year, it just unifies the community. So all in all, I'm just really proud of the efforts of this broad vision that the city has, and I'm really excited about this rail station that's going to anchor us as a place that people can come and spend their money because of all the great things that are coming around in the next 10, 15 years. So if we all agree to grow old together and get some gray hair, we're going to see all these projects completed. And thanks again.
Councilmember Laura.
I just briefly want to circle back and talk about the complicated piece of property on Paramount and Whittier. It's a small sliver. You can't put housing there. You can't put a business there. You can't put a parking lot there. And I remember the first year, I think I was on council, and they said, well, what about a park? And I think I kind of balked at that idea because I said, well, it's just, a homeless encampment. Do we really want that? But the way I've seen that the city has dealt with that, with using Southwest Patrol, making sure our parks are clear for families, for kids, it's like, well, this is becoming something I think a little bit more feasible. And since we purchased the property across the street, right, now it's okay. Now we need to beautify that area, right? And I remember we had looked at that, and the price was really, really steep for that sliver, but then some creativity and then some grant money, and now we don't have to use general fund to purchase that property. And that's just been one of the characteristic hallmarks of this council, of this staff, is that we're not dipping into general fund to take care of things like this. We're being really resourceful. and using other people's money to buy projects that are long lasting, right? I mean, that's in the city coffers from here till whenever. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. City Manager, any other reports or updates?
Did you have to go? Yeah. Okay. No, lastly, Pam, we have movies in the park coming up.
On Friday, we invite everyone to come out to Rivera Park, and we have Moana 2. And the team has developed a lot of fun things. And before we have real popcorn that's popped. And in the past, we used to have the bag popcorn, but now it's real. So you actually smell the popcorn coming up, which is a lot of fun. And we invite everybody to come out. It's free, and it's really quite a beautiful location if you have the time to go.
Thanks. And lastly, just wanted to give a quick update over the 4th of July. We have a special task force, of course, with illegal fireworks. We had about 104 citations that will be mailed out for people lighting illegal fireworks. They're about $1,000 a piece. So just FYI.
Thank you. Moving along, we'll go to good of the order, AB 1234. And why don't we start right here with you?
I have nothing to report for AB 1234. But may I ask a question about our city attorney? Mr. Glassman, can you please just give us a brief update on the lawsuit that the city entered in?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Yes, today there was a filing that was submitted by the City of Los Angeles and numerous other cities seeking primarily injunctive relief against the federal government, the Homeland Security, the ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement divisions. As the City Council is aware, 2 weeks ago was presented to the City Council the possibility, it was 2 weeks ago, of joining in a lawsuit that was contemplated by the City of Los Angeles. There was already a lawsuit that's been filed by the ACLU and by Public Counsel against the various agencies I just mentioned. There was actually a number, probably 10, 15 different parties and agencies. So that lawsuit is already on file. The City of Los Angeles had expressed an interest of intervening, what's called intervening into the lawsuit. And they sought assistance cooperation from selected jurisdictions, not every jurisdiction. I think now there's at least 8 different cities that have indicated a willingness to participate. So the lawsuit is intended to try and have the action and conduct as it currently is being enforced by those agencies to be enjoined, stopped. There was a press conference earlier today with Mayor Karen Bass and the city attorney and some of the mayors from the cities that participated in this litigation. I should note that let's see, the cities that are involved are the city of Pasadena, cities of Pico Rivera, Montebello, also Culver City. Paramount is intending to join in. I'm not sure if they actually have at this point. The County of Los Angeles has also indicated and has joined in. Santa Monica, yes, thank you. I should pull up give me a moment, I can pull up the lawsuit.
Get a copy of that.
Yes, it just came, we just received a copy late today. I can, my apologies. Here it is. I got it. Actually, I do have it up my screen. That includes.
City Attorney, while you pull that up, I'm going to have Councilmember Lutz go ahead and give his report.
Sure. So I have no items for AB 1, 2, 3, 4, but I do want to say that last month on the 26th, we had a softball tournament between the Pico Rivera staff and our local sheriff's department. And the tournament was amongst the two of us and also with Walmart. And naturally, I think the sheriff department, they tend to be a little bit more physically fit. They're the ones that took home the trophy. But with that being said, Pico Rivera got second place and Walmart got a third place. It was a great event. Some food was sold and T-shirts commemorating the first softball tournament between the three entities were sold, and the proceeds went to the Children's Hospital. And I think if we organize this and invite the public well in advance for next year, we'll make it bigger and broader, and we're excited to have it again. And our captain, he was out there. I'm not too sure if he made any line drives or RBIs, but Captain, how did you fare? I wasn't watching you on the other field. Well, we're looking forward to doing it again next year, bigger and better. Yeah. And other than that, I'm looking forward to doing the movies in the park, eating some popcorn right across the street from the house. And then the following month in August, we're going to have the 3 back-to-back Friday concerts in the park. Is that correct? Yes.
We'll have Summer Street Fest on the 8th, the 15th, and the 29th.
There you go. So that's in August, free events, Street Fest, and then this month we have the movies in the park.
Yes.
Lots of free events.
Yes,
and
lots
that's
of free
why
events.
I say our Parks and Recreation Department is the #1 in SoCal.
Yes, and we'll be having National Night Out on Friday, August 1st as well, in collaboration with the Sheriff's Department.
Do you have the lineup for the concerts in the park?
We do. We do. Yes, we do.
Yeah. Any headliners?
I don't know right now. That's a lot
We
of
get that later.
Okay, yes. Yes, we'll send it out for sure.
And that concludes my comments. Thank you very much.
And Mayor, I do have the pleadings in front of me. Excuse me. The current plaintiff and interveners are the City of Los Angeles, the County of Los Angeles, the cities of Culver City, Montebello, Monterey Park, Pasadena, Pico Rivera, Santa Monica, and West Hollywood. And the lawsuit has been filed. The matter is due to be heard on Thursday at 10 a.m. in federal court here in Los Angeles. We're waiting to see if the judge is going to allow for a virtual observation of the court proceedings. The prayer that's been asked by the City of Los Angeles and the cities that are intervened, I circulated that to the council, but I think it's probably important for me to read it here. That the interveners respectfully request that the court enter judgment in their favor and grant the following relief. Declare that the defendants' actions, and the defendants are the parties that I mentioned from the federal agencies, declare that the defendants' actions violate the 4th and 10th Amendments of the United States Constitution and the Administrative Procedure Act. To also ask to issue a preliminary and permanent injunction enjoining further violations of the 4th and 10th Amendments and Administrative Procedure Act, that the defendants' unlawful policies and practices violate various federal laws, declare that the courthouse arrest policy exceeds the defendant's statutory jurisdiction, authority, or limitations, declare that the courthouse arrest policy is unconstitutional, to enjoin the defendants and all of their officers, employees, agents, and anyone acting in concert with them from civilly arresting parties, witnesses, and any other individual coming to, attending, or returning from state courthouses or court-related proceedings, to also request that the interveners receive reasonable attorney's fees, costs, and expenses, including attorney's fees, and to grant other relief as the court deems proper. I should note that the city's participation, City of Pico Rivera, and all the city's participation is being through a representation from an international law firm of Munger, Tolles, and Olson. And Munger, Tolles, and Olson are doing it pro bono. What that means is they are not charging legal fees for the service. Of course, if they prevail and the court awards legal fees, then those fees will be awarded to that law firm. But there is no cost to the City of Pico Rivera in participating in this lawsuit. Happy to address any questions the council may have on this item. And again, the lawsuit was filed today. It will be heard, it's scheduled to be heard at 10 o'clock on Thursday.
Councilmember Lara and then Councilmember Lutz.
So hypothetically, if the federal judge were to side with the cities, based upon the new Supreme Court ruling, which would that just apply to LA County, to California? How would this? Because before it would be nationwide.
Well, it certainly would intend to cover Los Angeles County. Again, just if the court, at the trial court level, was to grant the request, the motion from the city of LA and the various other cities, excuse me, that's most likely to be appealed, work its way through the process, probably all the way up to the United States Supreme Court. We've seen a number of lawsuits filed throughout the nation trying to address these issues, and they work their way up to the Supreme Court. But, even though at this level, a federal judge, their ruling would stand until it's overturned.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Lutz.
Yes. Arnold, question. I understand you're going to send over what was just filed over to us, and we can read the details. But I'm just anxious to know now if you had an opportunity to read it and if they cited prior case law as the reasoning for the lawsuit.
Well, again, the circumstances that our region is facing is novel. I've reviewed the cases that they have cited and the authority that they have cited. I've had phone calls with the attorneys from, actually, the lead attorney from Munger Tolls is Mr. Estrada. He used to serve as the region's U.S. attorney, Martin Estrada. And so, no one can predict what a court's going to do. But, you present the best case law that you can, the best evidence that you can to the court, and you leave it up to the judge. So to answer your question, I have reviewed the pleadings entirely. We're going back and forth over the weekend. Today is actually the first day that I've received the final version of the pleadings that came through.
And hypothetically, if the plaintiffs hired experts, is that still covered under the carte blanche pro bono?
If there's experts that have been hired, those could be, no, any expert might be, it depends on, the city of Los Angeles normally is going to be the one fronting the costs. They're the lead plaintiff in this matter, petitioner in this matter. So, there is, if there is any expert to be retained, that's going to be a cost to the cities.
Got it. So then those are things that we need to discuss that say here on the council or in private session to be aware of a cost to the city. Because pro bono doesn't mean pro bono.
Well, pro bono means pro bono for the legal services.
Sure.
Yeah.
But not for experts that are hired on throughout the process and throughout a possible appeal, whatever the findings may be.
Well, normally in these types of matters, it's based upon the pleadings themselves. In terms, yes, a court could ask for witnesses to come in, law enforcement experts, if you will. Really what I would foresee is anywhere from the police chief of Los Angeles to the sheriff himself being witnesses if they were going to call law enforcement witnesses. Again, this is Thursday will be a significant day. If the court does not grant the request, then they have two options. One is to dismiss the request in its entirety. Secondly, is to set it for a hearing for the consideration of a permanent injunction. Or third is to grant the the request for a temporary restraining order and then set the matter for a permanent injunction hearing. Again, what we can do is, well, let's see, we have a special meeting, I think, scheduled for the 21st, and if we need to have the city council convene for a discussion in closed session, we can certainly do so.
I'd like that. I'd appreciate that.
Okay. I will circulate the pleadings. In fact, after we finish up with the good of the order, I'll send an email off to all the council members this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Glassman.
Thank you.
Dr. Sanchez?
Thank you. I just want to report, I was invited to speak to a group of young women today from all of the middle schools in Pico Rivera. They participate in a program through the Think Together, and they partnered with the Latina golfers, and they teach them, they have coaches, and they're teaching them about golf, not only about how to golf, but the occupations that come with golf. Including parks and facilities and that type of thing. So I was able to go and attend and speak to the girls and talk to them about my career in local government, as well as my other daytime job, which I'm the Grants Development Director, and I oversee all of the grants for the County Office of Education. So it was exciting to see them and answer their questions. One question they asked me is, how long it took me to finish my doctorate degree. And I hate to tell them it took me 8 years. But I was working full time and I was a mother at the time, so you can do it a lot quicker. But I tell them learning is a lifelong goal, and even as an adult, I'm still taking courses in water and local government and learning new things. So it was really exciting to be able to talk to them today, and thank you to our assistant Sandra and Pam for helping me get them some little goodie bags, and they're participating in that. I also wanted to share, there are two local, they're not sponsored or exactly with our city, but individuals that started a walking club in Pico Rivera, and they start at different parks. So every Wednesday at 5:45, they meet at various parks. So tomorrow they meet at Rio Hondo Park, and large groups have come out. I've done it last month prior to me spraining my ankle. All members are welcome. They're going to start at Rio Hondo Park. And then after that, walk over or drive over if it's too far, to Pico Park for our concert in the park, and not concert, our farmers market. And there's going to be a concert, Chico band, correct? So I love that our city, we've been doing more things about staying active and healthy. In addition, there's a Pico Women's Bicycle Club, and so I want to promote that as well. That's not exactly the city's doing, but that's something that residents felt passionate about, and they support. We have a bike path. We use our grant funding you can ride from the San Gabriel Riverbed to Rio Hondo Riverbed, back and forth. And so utilizing the services and learning about our city is really important. So I wanted to highlight those two things that you can do this summer if you're looking for things to do with your kids. The last question that I have, in addition for related to our city attorney, these lawsuits in different firms and individuals have reached out to me as well. If we get any requests from attorneys or firms, I myself am not an attorney, so what is the protocol in which we should, or if something happens in the city relating to ICE, what are the cities saying to do, or what are we to do in that case? I am not going to be, able to legally advise anybody. Do we share them your information, or we give them the resources of the attorneys that we've shared?
I would suggest you get their name and number and forward it to me, okay, and I'll reach out to them. If, again, the city attorney, as the city attorney, we represent the city. We would not represent any individual resident. And so, if you are receiving calls or contacts to have the city get engaged in litigation for any one individual or group of individuals, I would strongly suggest you just forward that information on to me.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to also say congratulations to our new captain, Captain Joe Hernandez. And I know he's not new to the city, but he's new as our captain. And I just want to say congratulations. Thank you for all of your hard work. And perhaps, I don't know if I need a second for it, but Captain Jody and I, we had a great relationship as well. When I was mayor, she was great in her leadership. Perhaps we can present her an award or something if she's around, maybe at the National Night Out, if we can. And maybe we can keep it a secret. Hopefully she's not watching the meeting. But maybe work it around her schedule if we can do that.
We'll reach out to her.
Yep.
Lastly, I know Captain just walked out. I'm going to put you on the spot really quick, but we interviewed 5 candidates for the selection of captain. But there was one question that I asked that I think Captain Hernandez answered, and that was the one that I think really, in addition to all of the great things he's done as an interim role, and that was, what does it mean to serve the city of Pico Rivera? So I don't know if you want to briefly go over that really quick, but again, sorry to put you on the spot, but I think that's very impactful.
No, sir. I just want to tell everybody, first and foremost, thank you. It's an honor to serve you guys. I know my role as a public servant. I've loved the city since I was little, and I've spent almost half of my 28-year career here in the city of Pico Rivera in the Sheriff's Department. And just in a nutshell, when you asked me that question, sir, I want to serve the city with passion. I love being in the city. I have a passion for this city. I have family here, and it's just been awesome, humbling experience to be able to serve this community, and I will do it with the utmost respect. I know earlier I was asked to do that, and I've always done that, and I will always do that and uphold the law. But I will always serve with every ounce of energy that I have in my body. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, no, thank you, Mayor. Just going off the just most recent comments from the captain. Again, congratulations, Captain. Definitely I've had opportunity to work with quite a few captains over the years. Have worked with you for a few of those as a lieutenant, as an acting. I have no doubt you're going to be able to continue the good service. You're very committed, dedicated, passionate to your work, and fair. And that's what's important. So congratulations on that. Welcome.
Thank you.
Officially. Just adding context to the question about, what we do to the immigration. I know on our website we have a lot of resources and partners that we work with, both from food to just legal advice, and we have a lot of that. I know that as this is coming fluid, we're trying to figure out how we go about in triaging. I know working directly with staff, as I hear something, just over the weekend we had some folks doing some construction work. Sounds like they were specific to that property. But one of the individuals that they got was, what they took with them had a work permit, had everything, the documentation, yet they still took him and trying to find him. The question was to try to find out where he went, where he got taken, the family. I know staff, Steve right away with, Jesse was involved in trying to mobilize, getting our partner, Congresswoman Linda Sanchez, involved. And they staff stepped up and tried to find out, help the family locate him. So there's a lot going on, but it's just like, let's just try to figure out how we triage this. But staff and our city attorney are doing what they can to help us in providing some level of service to our community based on what's happening right now. But my 2 questions, I have 2 public works related questions. One project that is near its end, if not already, but also one that we just approved. In regards to the citywide beautification medium projects, city manager, I know we're pretty much done, but have we done the final punch list item with them, or and I have another question after that.
It's in progress. We have another walkthrough.
So it's pretty much coming to an end now.
Yeah.
I know that we've covered these art pieces throughout. Some are no longer covered, some have been torn out. People are anxious to see them. Will we be removing them pretty
Yes.
soon?
As soon as I know everybody wants to participate, so we're trying to coordinate that. My goal is to get it done hopefully by next week.
And the great thing is that these art pieces they have light on them, so it's not gonna only beautify the day, but the night as well. So it's gonna really complement our city. The second question related to what item we just approved for the council chamber renovation here. Just based on the schedule that I see here, Mr. City Manager, what does that, start construction in August? Does that then take us out of this council
Yes, it does.
chamber? So we have one more meeting here,
Yes.
and then construction begins and there and so forth, so.
Yes, that's the timeline. I know they're going to be meeting with the contractor.
What his typical procurement requirements would be, but that would be the optimum schedule is what we reported in the report.
Okay, so it's just so we can plan accordingly. Thank you.
Council member?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem brought up the item about the council chambers. I didn't get a chance to ask staff on this, but I'm looking at this sketch. I don't know if this is a first draft sketch, but it's missing 3 seats for staff. The
Yes.
first page. It's missing 3 seats for
Right.
staff. We have a total of 15 staff members, seating area, but yet the sketch is shy 3 seats.
Correct. That is not the final plan. That was something that was asked of me to provide last minute today. But I did not have a graphic or presentation to go along with the agenda report. If you want me to visit you, I can bring to you and show you the construction plans.
Great, great. And then page 2 shows the TV screens for the public to view what's being spoken of. And page 3 shows blank walls with no screens for us council members to see what's being showed on the monitor. Again, this is just what you call filler. It's not the true final product?
That is correct.
Okay.
That was not asked of us, and so our consultant did not prepare a final rendering for the project.
Got it. And might as well ask, we're all here, is everybody, staff and council members getting monitors so they can see projects?
Council members are getting monitors and
Staff as well?
director staff, yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All righty, moving along, for good of the order, I want, AB 1234, I attended the LA County Sanitation's meeting. I also had an opportunity to attend with Dr. Sanchez and Mayor Pro Tem Camacho, the ribbon cutting of a Starbucks over on Beverly Boulevard, adjacent to Norm's. And I want to thank Southwest Patrol. Been receiving good feedback from the residents on Southwest Patrol. You go to any of our parks, they're complimenting their work. You go meet with business owners, they're complimenting their service out in the community. So please convey that message, Mr. City Manager. They're doing a good job out there, and maybe one of their staff meetings.
Yes, we'll do. And then just to let you get give you a quick update, we didn't have them on Mondays and Tuesdays. We are starting to have them now on Mondays and Tuesdays to fill the gaps.
We had one point talked about expanding their scope and going into our commercial businesses with offsetting that financial burden, not on the city, but with businesses. Where have we developed that further? Where are we?
We're still exploring that. Right now, we do it on if we have a specific issue at a business, we will have them dispatch there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
And I just want to give a shout out to Paul from IT. He's always right there, coming to the rescue for everybody inside City Hall and making sure that people are properly functioning. So Paul, thank you for everything you do right there in IT as well. And last but not least, we should have won the sheriff's, council member. That sheriff's host team, I found out they play year round. They're a bunch of ringers. And we gave them the best match, 15-12, but we made 6 errors, and we could have beat them. We gave them the best game. So we did our good for coming together for the first.
We did.
And you need to check the captain's thumb because he was taking some shots at third base.
And your leg, you hurt your leg, right?
No,
He pulled a hamstring.
it was a fun event.
Major injuries.
It was a fun event. That concludes my remarks. We're going to move into closed session. City.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have one item. It should be brief. Guerrillo versus City of Pico Rivera.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move into closed session, and we'll be right back out.